Hello everyone, my name is Yasin Al-Araj. I'm a cybersecurity consultant at Cybernight. Today we'll be presenting one of the leading risk and network modeling solutions available in the market, known as RedSeal. So let's talk about the fundamentals of cybersecurity. One of the main fundamentals in cybersecurity is having visibility. You need to know what you have, you need to know how it's connected, and you need to know the risks or the vulnerabilities that threatens them. So RedSeal, it will tell you what kind of inventory you have, it will show you how it's connected, and it will explain the vulnerabilities and thus the risk in your environment. So from a network inventory and topology perspective, RedSeal will ensure that every network asset that you have in your environment is accounted for. It will perform checks against industry standards for these device configurations, and there's the ability of actually writing your own custom checks and checks for your security controls, right? So it will enhance your inventory coverage. It will make sure that your configuration or device configuration complies with the best practices out there in the market, such as CIS, STIG, DISA, and many more. It will also check the configuration for compliance, such as PCI, chemical industry security standards, and it will help you do firewall cleanups. Let's talk about finding and securing devices and some of the challenges that some people face. One of the things that network admins face is that they don't have proper real-time visibility over the network. For instance, someone could start an unknown app or just connect a link without letting the IT or network department know, which is actually known as shadow IT. You might have weak devices password, poorly configured firewalls, unwanted protocols that are still active, or poor SNMP configuration. RedSeal will also provide endpoints scan coverage in the sense that will actually find security gaps within your endpoints. From an endpoint protection solution perspective, it will reconcile your host within the network, and it will correlate the endpoint product coverage and results, which will give you a much more higher visibility of the posture of your endpoints within your infrastructure. It can also find network inconsistencies and segmentations because one of the main things also in having a secure network is having a consistent configuration, a consistent segmentation, and a properly segmented let's say environment, right? So it will make sure that same model is applied across all network devices. It will validate your segmentation strategy or segmentation model based on well-known standards and compliance list, right? And it will assess the risks that you have within your network from a firewall perspective. It will give you a digital model of your network, so it will show you the whole network in a very user-friendly graphical user interface format. It will show you inconsistencies in your network, such as overlapping IP address space or duplicated VLANs, which is it's a very critical issue because then you have all of network issues happening within your network. And it will assess all the risks that you have, and overall it will give a very broad visibility across your environment. So it will also provide, as mentioned earlier, compliance with policies and regulations, from payment card industry, or any other standard policies. Will show you what gaps that you have and how you correct them and how you actually fix them, or what firewall rules are actually, let's say, have some risk related to them, and etc. So it will also provide a risk scoring and digital resilience. This part is also about the risk modeling. So it will show you your risks in a scoring based system or a digital resilience based system. So it will help you in prioritizing your vulnerabilities. It will accelerate the incident investigation. It will help you do your investigation quicker, and it will measure the effectiveness of your security strategy. So it's a way of actually quantifying the risks that you have and quantifying the effectiveness of the security measures that you have. It will help you prioritize these risks based on access paths, which we'll see in the next slide. It will help you investigate incidents in a timely fashion, measure the effectiveness of your security strategy as mentioned, and automate many workflows to accelerate the security remediation process. So moving forward, let's talk about managing vulnerabilities or managing risks. One of the standards in scoring vulnerabilities is actually known as the common vulnerability scoring system. Now, in my opinion, it's one of sometimes it's quite a misleading scoring system because it actually scores the criticality of the vulnerability based on generic attributes which are not necessarily applicable or related to your environment. So in this example, we'll see that we have 4 vulnerabilities with different scoring, different scores. The higher is CVSS 9, and it goes in descending order. However, looking at this sometimes can be misleading if we put them merely in that order, because as mentioned, sometimes the vulnerability score is not actually relevant to your environment or to your let's say network model that you have. So for instance, we can see here that the data center have a very critical asset, and that critical asset have a CVSS score of 4. Right, it's a critical asset, so this actually should raise the scoring for the vulnerability itself. Right, this same host has access to another, let's say, critical asset, which even makes it worse. And then you have CVSS4. It has exposure to an untrusted network, which is actually making it easier for someone to access or exploit that vulnerability. So, the last vulnerability, which was scored the highest, on the first look, does not have any critical assets inside or any exposure to untrusted networks. So it does not make sense to actually give it a scoring of 9, while the lowest, which is CVSS4, has the lowest scoring system. So this is totally wrong. This is totally misleading, and this can cause a problem later. So what RedSeal help you with is that it helps you prioritize your vulnerabilities or risks based on your own environment. So it's much more relevant to your HomeFront. If you can use this analogy here. just as we mentioned in the beginning of the presentation. So RedSeal will help you prioritize them in such a way that it is much more relevant to your environment. So CVSS6 gets top priority because it's exposed to an untrusted network, meaning it's very accessible from an untrusted network. So it gets the top priority. Then CVS4 gets second priority because it has a very critical assets and it's connected to another critical assets, right? CVS7 goes in third place, and CVS9 or CVSS9 goes on the bottom. This is much more realistic. This is much more relevant to your own right. One of the other features for RedSeal, it will help you accelerate the incident response within your own network. So, for instance, let's say you discovered an IOC in your wireless segment of your network, right? This could actually lead to a chain effects of other breaches, other targets, because this segment of your network has accessibilities to the all other segments of your network, which even makes it worse. So RedSeal give you that visibility in the sense that if you detect an IOC, you can predict what's the next move for the attacker and how you can stop that or respond accordingly to that, which will make the incident response procedure much more easier, reliable, and effective. So yes, going back to the digital resilience score of the risk management, RedSeal actually provides you with a dashboard that will actually give you your digital resilience or digital risk in a quantifiable and graphical friendly format in order to actually know what kind of risks are there in your environment and what is your resilience, how much you're resilient to digital attacks. It will tell you about your compliance from a compliance perspective, trending, so it show you the timeline of your digital resilience score over time, which can be very helpful in understanding your maturity level, moving towards a better security posture. It will give you actionable intelligence. So, for instance, it would tell you, about the top vulnerabilities that you have, how much it's relevant to your environment, the actual ranking for it, not the CVSS ranking. So, it will give you much more, let's say, internal threat landscape intelligence about your, HomeFront or local network, right? So, summing it all up, with RedSeal, from a risk perspective, it will give you a risk scoring system, a risk resilience, scoring. So, it will help you measure your posture, overall posture from a risk perspective. From a network perspective, it will give you visibility to make sure that all your inventory are accounted for and are securely configured. It will also provide that for endpoints, so it will tell you, the posture of your endpoint inventory, your posture of your endpoint security. Network segmentation, it will help you, virtualize your network and make sure your network is properly segmented and it is is following a very well designed model. So yes, I hope my presentation was very insightful to you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.